Arganissima, New York. Your exotic skin, hair, and beauty source, and your one-stop shop for all your natural and organic skin and hair care, featuring authentic organic Moroccan oil and prickly pear seed oil and much more. Bringing you only the best, straight from the source and proudly produced in the USA. So what are you waiting for? Shop today at www.arganissima.com. Arganissima, New York. Your beauty is our duty. Arganissima, New York.
Well, hello and welcome to the iHealth channel and iHealth Radio with your host, Hurricane H. As always, a new day, a new topic, and a new guest. And our guest today is a medical doctor by trade, by experience, but who had changed at a point or another in her path, to something more unique in a way that she helps people now in a different aspect, more holistically in mental health and wellness. And so she is a certified mental health and wellness coach, and she is by, again, default, a board certified, primary doctor or medical doctor. So without any further ado, today I have with me Dr. Tomi Mitchell, and we will talk about a concept that everyone probably has experienced or will experience in their life. I don't think anyone is going to be shielded from this one. And that is basically burnout. And we're going to define what that is. So, Doctor, welcome to the show. Thank you for the opportunity to have you here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation to your show, Hurricane.
It's my pleasure. And I was looking forward to it. And you're here and I'm excited. And we're going to get some real juice to our people and listeners and viewers. So first things first, let's talk about you and your career path, before you got into the wellness and the mental, coaching piece. So you started as a medical doctor.
Yes, I started my journey over a decade ago. That's as much as I'm into as a physician.
All right, we'll take it.
Yeah, and I went into family medicine because as a family doctor, I am faced with a broad number of topics, basically from conception to end of life. And me being the nerd I am, I love to learn and really be a master of many areas, not just superficial. I like to go deep. Okay. So my goal was to help people in a holistic way. So gung-ho, I worked hard, built a practice, I literally built it, the building. And I ran a medical center for about a decade. And I was like, okay, this is good, but the system isn't changing. Okay. We've shown what attentive care, proactive care, preventative care can do, but the system refuses to change. And I cannot carry that on my shoulders anymore, especially after I became a mother of now 2 young little girls. Right. So, surprise, surprise, I became burnt out. And I just, FYI, I also opened a second business because I'm a girly girl and we're all aging, let's face it or not. I say black don't crack, but when we do, Lord have mercy. So I made sure I have the skills of doing Botox and fillers just to give one a very healthy glow. So I started that second business just before I had my first child. So that's the medical part.
Nice. Well, so let's just talk about that. I mean, you did mention something about we understand medical practices and they're a big burden, and it's a lot of stuff people may not know. I personally have a little bit of knowledge about it based on my background, and I'm on the payer side, but I work with providers all the time. And I've even worked with administrators and sites and medical, and I've worked directly under large corporations and medical practices and centers. So I understand how it works. It's not a picnic, and you're right.
No, it is not a picnic. It's not like Beverly Hills 90210. Like it's no. You're in the trenches.
It is day to day, hustle, and it's dealing with everything from the front, from the customers, the patients, the work, insurance. Mm-hmm. That's us. Sorry, we give you.
Yeah, love you guys. Not.
It wasn't me.
Oh, yeah.
But you know, and then of course dealing with different programs and with Medicare, Medicaid, and all these changes, and it's been crazy. I mean, the last 20 years have been very, I would say, exciting, but very crazy at the same time when it comes to healthcare in the U.S. At least for our audiences that are watching from all over, because the show is broadcasting all over. So people, sometimes wonder about the healthcare system in the U.S. It is convoluted. It is difficult.
Complicated.
It's very complicated. Exactly.
Yeah.
And most part, a lot of countries have similar, dilemmas that they have to deal with.
Yes.
But you're right. And whether we're in the medical field, the insurance field, or any type of field, as I stated earlier, at any given time, you start working. I mean, first of all, literally from early age. I mean, your school. Sometimes at an earlier age, you're working part time to fulfill your needs and whatever financial
multiple jobs. Yep.
Exactly. Then you get into your career, your college and university, whatever type of academia you go through, and then you're going to the career, and then it's never stopping. It's just ongoing from one thing to the other. There's not, you get a couple of vacation weeks every now and then, and not enough. And I think everyone out there can relate to this because you do feel the brunt. You do feel the punch. You do feel, a little dizzy at a point or another in this life. And then you're like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah. Some people don't know what to do with it. And,
yes, that's true.
And it turns out to be like they turn into some bad stuff. Some people find other ways to deal with it. Yeah. But again, at the end of the day, some people, they quit the jobs, they change careers, or they just completely just collapse and it's over, right? Not good idea. We don't want people to have heart attacks and mental breakdowns and things like that, but it is real. And you've seen that, and you said it, you start from literally from baby times to cradle times. I mean, to the end, right?
Definitely.
So it's tough, right? And you've experienced it now.
Yes.
You added another value. You said you added your cosmetics, right?
Yes, that was the second piece.
Yeah, the aesthetics, which is, by the way, a common trend these days. A lot of providers have complemented their practice, especially primary practice, into estheticians and cosmetic stuff and adding Botox and all these fillers and things like that. It's trendy now. Yes. so you did the right thing, and it's lucrative to a degree, but again, comes with the price. Time, energy. You have to invest yourself and deal with all the stuff that comes with it. Now you decided to make an end to it, and not only for yourself, but you decided to take it to the next level as you've discovered the formula for you. You wanted to share that formula, so you took it to the next level. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
What was the burnout moment for you?
You see, I'm very stubborn, so it takes a lot to knock me down. But 2020, that was my year. So just fast forward, 2019, 2 days before Christmas, I had my second child. 4 days. Thank you. 4 days later, she became unconscious. Out of it, I did CPR, resuscitated her, brought her to the hospital. And then she became a patient who stopped breathing and it was seizing. And I was working for a system that at that point didn't listen when I said, my child isn't breathing, help my child. And this happened like 6 times. Imagine that. Like I'm begging that my child can't breathe. And they're telling me it's just reflux. Okay.
You're a doctor.
And they know I am, right? So I was like, whoosha, just trying to be calm. But then I call a friend. I'm like, who's a doctor? I'm like, look, this is what's happening. People finally believe me. This was 12 hours later. Then she's transferred to the ICU. Okay, good. At that point, I can breathe. And what does my body decide to do? Hemorrhage. So I hemorrhaged all over the floor, became a patient. Okay. Massive postpartum hemorrhage. So my kid was in ICU in one hospital and shifted to another because she needed more support and investigations. And I followed her and I hemorrhaged along the way. So I had 5 of them and I had multiple life-saving procedures done. And then I even wrote my will in the hospital. But I lived to tell the story. I survived. And she survived and she's doing well. And I went back to work 5 days later. Stupid. Okay. So then March, we all know what happened in March. There was, WHO finally said it was a pandemic, but we all know it's been all over US and over the world way before March.
I
So
think it was 2019, but that's
it was 2019. I heard about COVID in 2019. I'm like, the corona apocalypse is coming. People are like, what's that? I'm like, wait and see. Okay, you better get your house stocked up. And plus, I was having a baby, so I was stocking up my home anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So then March happened, shutdown happened. One of my business, which is non-essential, which is the Botox, fillers, aesthetics, sculpting, all that good stuff, was shut down. I'm like, oh, this sucks. But thank God I had my day job, medicine. But then I really had a lot of time on my hands to really think about, what do I really want with my life? What was my initial calling? My initial calling was to make an impact, a global impact, particularly for women, but people in general, of health and wellness, okay? In a holistic way, because in my career, I found out that most health problems were completely preventable. And that's why it drives me nuts seeing people go through sickness and illness when I'm like, you didn't have to do this. Like, why? You didn't need to be a diabetic. You didn't need to have a heart attack. You didn't need to have a knee replacement. Had you made those choices consistently in your early years? But I guess prevention isn't really sexy in health and policies, right? You can't really put statistics of how many heart attacks you prevented. It's just whatever. But it was tough. So I was like, okay, well, I have this extra time. Let me hit the books and do more training. So I did. I took 3 or 4 courses on mental health and wellness, life and health coaching, et cetera, while dealing with a pandemic and 2 young children. And then, okay, so I was exhausted, but like I said, I'm stubborn. Right? So I kept on going, but it was October of 2020. I can remember the call I received from public health. And they told me that someone had come to my office who was likely COVID positive and who was infectious. I was like, okay. And I remember looking at my 2 little girls thinking, oh my goodness, have I brought something home? I remember asking, did I see the patient? And I guess for patient confidentiality, they wouldn't even tell me, which I think is kind of ridiculous. I just wanted to know. So I ended up staying home, testing. It all turned out good. But then I was like, I snapped in my head. I'm like, why the hell am I busting my butt for a system that is so reactive that at the end of the day doesn't really care about you as an individual? Okay. And if everyone is listening, if something happens to us, they will replace you very quickly. You wouldn't even be in your grave for 2 days and there's a replacement. So please, okay? And I know I'm replaceable. You might think, oh, you're just a doctor. Yeah, but they'll find some doctor from somewhere. They'll figure out something. So the most important thing is your health, your physical and mental health. So for the first time in my entire life, I took a break, and I took a long break. It was months. And it was so surreal, like waking up and like, oh, I don't have 100 patients today. I don't have to go to the hospital today. Like, what's going on? And I really took the time to heal in a holistic way because I was burnt out and exhausted. And I forgot one piece. We all know what happened May 25th last year. And I remember seeing George begging for his life, saying he can't breathe. And that snapped in me because as a mother and a human being and a woman of color, that triggered me. And it also brought me back to my own experience as a patient advocating for my 4-day-old daughter, saying she can't breathe. And the monitors are saying her oxygen is 51%. And that is like not compatible with life, right? Multiple times, but they're poo-pooing me. So it was like, I was done. I was like, I have given my best. I have worked hard, hoping that, other people may not give the level of my dedication. Because like I said, I'm a little extreme, but at least a quarter. And I wasn't getting it. And I was done. And at that point, I decided I am going to use my privilege as a physician, my voice, I don't kiss butt to anybody. I don't care about political affiliation. I don't care about who you are. You could be the Queen of England or whoever. I will tell you the truth. So that's me. So then October happened, the COVID exposure. Then I took a step back and I'm like, what do I really want to do? And I first wanted to heal thyself. I believe as physicians, we are supposed to be healers, but it's very hard to be a healer if you're not taking care of yourself. You can only take people as far as you're willing to go. So if you're uncomfortable talking about lifestyle or exercise because you maybe are carrying an extra 100 pounds, then you probably won't say that to your patients, right? So I made sure I took care of myself in a holistic way. And I truly practiced what I preached.
Wow. So I want to pause there and get back a little bit to few items and elements you've kind of uncovered in the discussion. So first things first, I mean, the experience, having birth and going through that whole experience with your baby and newborn.
Yes.
I have to, I mean, I'm a father and I've seen the birth of my kids. I've witnessed it. It's a beautiful moment, but certainly not something you would want to hear at that point, that your child is not breathing.
No.
And especially when no one's listening and knowing that better. I mean, you are a practitioner, you know exactly what needs to happen. You could have done that stuff yourself if you were, able to. But there you get into resistance. And that is probably a horrible experience for anyone out there listening. You do not want to have that stage in your life. And then you yourself, reacted, and then it impacted your body. And now you had to do surgery. Yes. And now it's like me at, in a dead bed and, in a risky bed. And then my child is, I don't know what's going on. That's gotta be a very turning point. I mean, that anyone's life today, listening to this will probably be like, okay, I will change my life to a whole different world, right? Yes. And you did. And then to your point, then we have the whole thing with the pandemic, and the lockdown had also some effects. I mean, luckily it was a good time. People were also in home, with their families, so the lockdown did work for some, not for all, but some people took advantage of that time and really made it work. But you're right, there were other elements in society that do trigger, different things. And for you to witness that whole, I can't breathe and knowing what happened to your baby. Listen, I can relate. That is not something that someone would want to experience. And mentally speaking, that's actually a flashback that just brings you right back to that moment. So, but you did push on an element that, of preventative. And it being a primary care physician, someone that does family practice or internal medicine, that's at the core mission of really what primary is
100%.
To do everything to prevent anything that can happen in the future in a way and detrimental to the health. And you did talk about the importance of health and how it's important to maintain you before you can maintain others. I mean, if something happens to you, no one's going to care for the kids. No one's going to do the right thing for the others.
Exactly.
Then you mentioned something about, which is a true fact, and it's reality, unfortunately. I mean, I've been in corporate America for 27 plus years, so, and I can tell you, I've come to that conclusion a long time ago, is you deliver, but don't expect. The expectation is that you are only as good as yesterday, not even today. And you keep doing what you're doing to the best of your abilities, as long as you're needed. And then there's a day. And I've seen it come in, going with any level in the corporate hierarchy. Doesn't matter who you are. I've seen CEOs, let go. I've seen, entry level let go, mid management, executives. Doesn't matter what level you are. Don't ever think that it's you got controls of life. It will end. And, you can step on people and you still will end. Eventually someone will come and step on you. That's just the way, the karma, the circle of life in the corporate
the dog eat world. So.
It is a very crazy world we live in, and it's reality. And everybody should be aware of that, because I actually have been saying this to some of my circles, trust me, especially when I work with new folks that are very just out of college or just really at the peak and really like they're looking at their career as like, this is it. I'm going to do the best I can to really go to the next level. And I give them this from my experience. I've had the highest level in my career path that I can have potentially. Yeah. And at any of those levels, despite all the stuff I did, you were still expendable at any given time. And rightfully so, it happens and it would happen. And I always expect it to happen. So that's why I love what I do. I do it with passion, but I never hold myself with the expectation that, it could be any day. The pandemic happened. A lot of people lost, their business. A lot of people lost their livelihood. You don't know what can happen. I mean, the worst part that can happen is you not being healthy or God forbid, that, right? But really, if you do not take care of yourself mentally and physically, that is a bad thing. And so you hit it right on the point to your key element here, which is burnout is going to happen. because of all the elements that surround us. And then when it happens, how you deal with it is key.
Yes.
So now let's take that level. Burnout here, burnout here, as far as I can define it, is really, you just can't do it anymore. You're just tired.
Yeah.
That's it.
The elastic stretch and snaps. Like it's done.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's like, oof, that's it. All right. So what do we do at this point? You reached that point. Now you did go get your certificates and stuff like that, and you transited into this whole new world of sharing and helping people not to burn out, not to be where you were or where most of us are. I mean, the fact is, that's really what everybody is these days. At a point or another in their life, they're probably at a point around burnout and they just don't know it. And they keep at it until they get a stroke, they get, a heart attack, they get, problems they have. It affects their work, it affects their family, their kids, their health, they eat too much, all kind of stuff, marital, situation that can happen. It can be a very severe impact. So how do you today, with your company, your new trend, which is the mental wellness and mental fitness and wellness. Is that what it is?
Mental health and wellness. Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. I'm trying. but really, how do you put all that concept? If I came to you right now as a client, and literally, I've been working for 20 years. I have done the best I can. I never see me appreciated. I'm going crazy. I don't know how to do. I take it home. My kids are not happy with me because I snap at them. My wife is not happy with me because I don't give care, take care of, her. This is a good, I'm role playing with you, but
okay, let's do this.
As a client, I mean, I am destroyed already. Things are not doing well in my life. I might think that financially I've, achieved something, but I've lost everything else because money is not everything. No, you got to balance it up, so that's important. I mean, time management, right? Life, personal, business, all that balance has to be in place. So I came to you, I am your client right now with this concept. This is my syndrome.
Okay.
So talk to me. How do we deal with it?
Well, Hurricane, it's a pleasure meeting you today.
I love this.
Yeah. Awesome. So we're going to just talk a little bit, get to know you. Just know there's no right or wrong answer. I just want you to be your true self, not the professional self. Be you. Okay.
I'll try.
Back home with the homeboys, be you. Okay.
All right.
We're here. Imagine for a second you had this magical wand, so to speak, and you could have anything you wanted in your life in the next 90 days. What would it be?
To have pure freedom from anything and anyone and be able to enjoy the things in my life, I would say. So not to worry about financials and having to work for anyone, just be able to do what I love and enjoy my family, my time. Again, I'm aging, and these days you don't even know if you're going to make it to the next day. So I want to do the best I can to live, as happy as I can and enjoying, and enjoy the people around me and have them enjoy me.
Okay. I love that. So let's get into that person who is living this life. So imagine, what would it feel like if you're here? What sound would you hear? What would you smell? I want you to use your senses and transport yourself into that life.
Well, it does smell like a nice island breeze with some nice wave sounds and birds chirping and maybe a nice drink and just lounging and enjoying, all the people in my life. And that's really what the picture that comes to mind. As a matter of fact, this is funny, but this is actually my
love it. That's my dream too.
It's my reminder. This is where I want to be.
That's very good. We call those anchors. Okay, awesome. So you're on this nice island or hotspot. You can do as you want to do. You can chill with your partner, your kids. Everything's good. Mm-hmm. How would you feel? Tell me. I want to hear your feelings, descriptors.
Oh, ecstatic. I'll be like literally in paradise. Literally. Okay. I mean, there's nothing better than that. I mean, having the life that you want and the enjoyments of everything that you've dreamt of, and you don't have to worry about anybody, you're not reporting to anyone.
Yes.
And just living the life. I mean, that's everybody's dream, I think. And unfortunately, we're all kind of, well, no, I wouldn't say everybody, but everybody at a point in their life, they want that kind of life. That's like what we see in the movies, when like someone has made it, that's kind of like the life that they show us. When even bad guys, when they finish, they want to leave, they go on an island and want to have some mojitos and chill. Things don't work out, but hey, that's another story.
Awesome. So how would it impact your relationships, this life? Think about those who are closest to you, typically family. How would that impact having this life?
I think they will enjoy it. I mean, they do when we have a vacation. So we're just going to be more of a permanent one. Now, again, you said you were extreme and you were like very energetic and you're like, stubborn. I mean, I'm a little bit of that. And I don't know if I can chill that long.
Yes.
but it has, but you see, but here's the thing. Like, I do this. I love this. I would love to do this from any island and just have my life, the way I want it. So the key is I want to take what I love and leave everything else that may be a problem. Now, I enjoy the work I do, like literally from 9 to 5, but I understand what it comes with. So that's why I don't stress. A lot of people look at me like, what's wrong with you? Like nothing really baffles you. No, it doesn't. You know why? Because I'm already prepared. The worst that's going to happen, I'm going to say, have a good day. Well, I'm ready for that day, any day. I'll move on. Life goes on. I've been there, done that a few times. So I know. Mm-hmm. So that's where I am. So to your question, how my folks will feel, I think they'll have a better me. Because at any day, as much as I'm good and I think I'm good, you come in sometimes with the nonsense and you just take it on them. I don't want to deal with you. Go ahead, go do your thing. I don't want to participate. I just want to chill. That may be different. I may have more energy and I can do the things I love. I like to work out. That gives me an opportunity to do that. I like to, be creative. That gives me an opportunity to do that, right? When you work in and you just like running up and down, it's the same thing, the same routine every day, in and out. It's monotonous. So it's
boring.
Sorry, I took a little minute.
No, that's good. No, I like how you're getting into it. Okay. So we've really outlined the life you want to live. So now, what are the challenges in the way to living that life?
Well, the first one challenge is can I afford that life?
Okay.
Because that is at the end of the day, I mean, money is important and it is a means to an end, but nevertheless, it's the world that we live in. You can't live on fishing, and live in a hut, right? It doesn't work.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you can afford all those things in a long term, and be able to also do the things you do. Like you can't vacation forever, but you have to have some financial stability. And I think a lot of us are concerned about that part. If you ask anybody out there, like, what's stopping you today? They'll say like, oh, I don't have the money for it. I can't afford it yet. I'm working towards it. So money is a big piece of that. Like, having that freedom, or as they say, that kind of money that you don't care anymore about people. He can say whatever you want to them. And I'm being very nice on the call here. So
no, that's okay. That's okay. You can be real. So looking in the past, what has helped you in the past to have a little bit more financial freedom? Like, what did you do differently?
Oh, me personally, I don't stop. I do different things at all times. I am not doing one thing at a time. I'm always, doubling up, learning new skills and doing different things. And so I'm always busy and learning different things and earning different ways. It's not, I believe in the concept of eggs in different baskets. So you can't be just relying on one thing. So one thing drops, you have more things happening and you never kind of get stuck. And also I have the ability to work with my mind and brains, and I can also work physically with my hands. So I can do all those. So then there's always something to fall back on. I mean, listen, I always said this, worst case, I can Uber and make just about the same money and enjoy life still. I mean, again, I can't Uber on an island. Maybe I can do a little boat ride. I don't know, but you know what I mean? So it's just a matter of having other opportunities available to you. So you're not always stuck with one thing. And,
I love it.
And also I always say this to my friends, if you really want to make money, probably online is the place to be. Mm-hmm. You can get more customers and you can be anywhere. And I've been working towards that concept for the last few years, and so far so good. I can't complain.
Very good. You have come a long way compared to the average Joe. You've diversified your income sources, which is amazing. You didn't put all your eggs in one basket. You have this something just like brush it off kind of attitude, which I love too. It's like, so what? And if I lose that, it's okay. It's just money. It's just stuff. I can start over.
That's right.
Right. you definitely have confidence in yourself and your ability to learn and to use your mind and be creative. And you've already outlined the solutions and the steps in order for you to get there.
Well, we're role playing right now, right? But
I know, but I'm like,
but
yeah.
the fact is, these are real. I mean, what I shared is actually me. That's my planning for many years. I mean, I made the joke many years back. I wanted to retire at 30. I tried. I got back at 33. I wanted to retire at 40. I tried. I got back at 42, and now I'm about to. I want to do that in the next couple of years. So there's a timeline on this. But again, every time you have to work towards things, and sometimes we make some moves and they work and they don't. And I do believe in one thing. You can live with rich, you can live with little. You know what I mean? And that's the other thing. I'm willing to do that. I'm able to do that. And some people are not. Once you get to a standard of living, you may not want to let go, and that's another problem. So again, I do believe in humble living if it means to be. Now, if I can, I always say this: don't downgrade your lifestyle, upgrade your finances. So that's a motto of mine. I will go after that, but if it doesn't happen, I will still make it. Again, I made the joke about fishing. I mean, I can, literally live in a hut and and fish and eat some sushi and grilled fish, and find, some nice exotic, stuff. But that's survival. And, instead of surviving, you can still live as opposed to just survive. But those are my concepts.
I love it. And you know what? You're really in a really good spot. And I know you're going to achieve this. You will get that island life. And you've already surrounded yourself with, like, I love the little mouse pad, a reminder of where you are going to be in the future.
That's my escape, by the way. Whenever we get a chance, we go to Caribbean. That's exactly why I sit.
Same here. It's like Jamaica, Cayman Islands. Like I just love.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love to get out and live within one's means and being humble. Like that is amazing. And at the foundation is health. Health is wealth, right? So we talk about the wellness wheel. We talk about emotional health, financial health, spiritual health, environmental, social, intellectual, right? All of those parameters need to be evaluated. Otherwise, if you just focus on one area, a lot of individuals focus on, let's say, money at the expense of their physical health, their mental health. You'll burn out. You'll be out of balance. You'll be a grizzly bear to your family, your coworkers. It's not good.
Seen that?
Right?
I have seen actually people that forget all that. And you see it, like it is also around us. You see a lot of movies that depict some of these characters that work, they forget their life, their families, and all they do is work. And then before you know it, something happens, it's a crisis, and they end up, throwing themselves from a building, whatever. I mean, and it happened actually, real life. I mean, in the recession 2008, a lot of people, when the stock crashed, people really took some drastic measures, including, suicide. Nothing is worth that. If you started one day before, you can do it again. That's the concept that I live with. I did it from nothing, and I can do it again and again. And I've done it actually over and over, where I had a lot of money and had no money. If it happens again, I know exactly how to do it. It's just like I always teach my kids one thing, like the concept of you have to teach them to fish and not to give them the fish. So I learned that when I was a kid. I apply that in my life in every single aspect of it, and it does help. And you know what? It also makes you feel less stressed.
Yes.
And that the other thing, you have to be aware of realities. And for example, as extreme as it's going to sound, that is a reality.
Yes.
And it's around us. And we've seen people, we've known people that were here and they were gone overnight. Yes. So that's coming one day or the other. I do not want to scare people, but I would be literally just, an ostrich if, putting my head on the sand, expecting that it's not going to happen, so I don't think about it that way. But at the same time, I know it's going to happen, and I need to enjoy my life to the best ability that I can. And time is a commodity that we're running out of, and you got to make the best of it. And so, so that's for me, a key element that helps me. And that's one. And to your point, the next one that you cannot live without is health. Yes. And if any experience the pandemic has given us is that if you are sick and you are out of commission, you cannot work, And you're right, you will be replaced because, you can get FMLA, you can get all those, labor laws that are, accesses that you have, but they are limited to a point which is 120, days, and then you're done. Basically, any company can dismiss you for whatever the case may be. And then now you have to restart. Some people cannot get over it. And some people will start again. But if your health is gone, that's it. If you get into disability, you cannot make the things you want. You cannot enjoy. I mean, you have people think like, oh, I'm gonna work, save, and then when I get older, I'm gonna retire and do stuff. I shared this before, on a different show. I did some consulting in 2003, and one of the lead person that I was reporting to as a consultant, his father retired at 65 and died the next day.
Wow.
And so, and when I experienced that with him and how he crumbled in my mind at that time, I was like, wait a minute, I cannot possibly live until I work and give everybody whatever I got. And then the day that I'm ready to enjoy my life, I'm going to be gone, and that can happen to anyone. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, as you age, you're not the same. Your body is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
Your energy is not the same. I mean, you can keep up to a degree, but eventually, things are not going to be the same, period. That's called aging, right? Yeah. And as much as you can be healthy, fit, and eat well and do all that, it's going to diminish. And so at that point, you might get to a point where, well, I would like to travel, but I have no mood to doing anything. I'm just going to be like sleepy all the time. I can't walk too much. I cannot run. I cannot enjoy. I don't want that. I want to be able to do those things. And by the way, this is not about me. I think everybody listening, that's the concept that you should, really look for in your, when you put in your plans out there. So
definitely looking at the bigger picture. I love how you mentioned about time. We all know the saying, time is money. Well, I also add time management is money well spent.
I love it.
Yeah, that's I add.
And it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So just remember that we all have money, time. So it's a great currency. Make best use of it. A lot of people, like you say, they wait till they're older to enjoy. When I retire, no, like live now. Carpe diem, seize each day. It's a gift. That's why it's called a present. Right? Like live. Have that inner childlike curiosity for adventure, to try something new. Quit being so boring. If all you do is like go to the office and come home, that's boring.
I know.
Right?
Not fun at all. It's really bad.
Play cards, do something, but use your brain, use your talents, use your senses. Keep the mind sharp. It's a muscle. You have to exercise it.
Doctor, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I had a guest. It was phenomenal, and he has his own company as well, and he does things, and he's known as the bucket list guy. I don't know if you've heard him or talked to him, but he made it very simple. He gave this thing like where to say people want to be here and be here.
Yes.
And, you can do it slowly. Like you can curve yourself, like, build and then transit into that point where no more. And he literally, he said it the best. So, I mean, it's a concept that you don't have to change overnight, but you can work towards it. And you got to balance it up where you do less and less and you enjoy more and more. And eventually you get all the stuff and you start now. Don't delay, to your point. I mean, I know people that have not traveled outside of the state, or even their towns, or seen any major stuff. It's a big world. Yeah. I mean, it's a big state. I mean, the country itself is huge. I mean, just the states themselves, 50 states, we haven't even, scratched the surface. If you went to each one of them, you probably spent a couple of years just to discover the state, and see everything in it. And then, you have all the borderlines and you have all the other countries, the Caribbean, all over the world. There's something to do. And you can do activities. And that's the other thing, find an art, something that's unique that you like. You said it. I mean, keep your brains, it's funny. I had a meeting this afternoon at an adult daycare center.
Nice.
And these seniors were actually alive.
They're the cutest.
They were having a ball.
I know.
They're dancing, chilling, they were like, and that's it. I mean, you don't stop. You enjoy life until the end, but you do the best that you can. But you don't wait till you point to the end and say, okay, now it's time to go and do all the stuff. First of all, the money will be probably less because, if you're only on Social Security or like retirement, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then your health is not going to be helping you to do certain things. I mean, I know today I can do certain things, but I could do more then than I can do now. So, and I think that goes true for everyone. So.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you though. Interesting enough, I actually have more energy now in my late 30s than I did in my early 20s. Like
that's actually a terrific age.
Yeah.
I do remember those days.
Yeah.
I'm far gone from there, but you're right. I mean, those are the best days. And I do remember those were the best days of my best shape and energy and everything. And they don't last long. So enjoy it, make it work.
So for those of you who are young, or like, oh, I have my whole life, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it will pay back as a, what, the choices you make in your teens and 20s are going to bite you in the new where. So do the right thing. So you can, right?
Yeah, you said something earlier about, preventative.
Yes.
And a lot of the reason things are happening the way they are, kids today do not listen.
No.
They do not heed, they do not learn from older folks. They think older folks are not, we don't appreciate them, or we just don't care, or we're just full of bull BS that, they don't want to listen. You eat well, do this, don't eat that. And I can speak to in my own world. I mean, my son, he last check he did, physical, preventative, his blood work came up like almost border diabetic. And, he's only 15. I'm like, dude, this is what we've been talking about. You don't listen. Oh, then he needed glasses. Oh, well, stop, doing all the stuff that you do. Take care of your eyes. Yes. Oh, Dad, you just too much. Well, I'm not too much. You have to suffer, not me. It's your body, not mine. But that's I'm giving a real example from my own life, but that's the standard. You talk to kids today, they don't care. You go to the gym, they're pushing and getting all crazy. They want to have that stuff doesn't last. You put in all that, your muscles are not going to hurt now. Your bones are not going to hurt now. Give them a couple of years and things will start deteriorating and be like, what the hell just happened? Oops. That's because you didn't care. They eat whatever they want, snack this, snack that. I mean, everything is moderation. You have to take it, but that's preventative. And that's really what it comes.
Preventative and early screening. That's awesome that your son, had the blood work done early, because traditionally we don't check until much later. But I think in this world where it's very sedentary, where there's a lot of calorie dense food at our disposal, we need to be checking sooner. So that's really good.
Well, so doctor, what are some of the? By the way, I enjoyed the role play. It was fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was good.
Well, that's what people should expect from.
Oh yeah, this is what you see here is what you get in the office.
And to be honest with you, you did drive that. As a matter of fact, the questions got me going. And while it is whatever I said was true in my world, it might be or may not be for others, but it will almost. I believe that if you had the question, people will open up their eyes. Oh. We got to do this. And you ultimately will give them the advice. But that's one part of it. So what else would someone expect, to make change? What changes would a client expect to make changes? And I know you do individuals as well as corporations.
Yes, for sure. So whether it's corporation or individual, it all starts with individual. So for those of you listening, spoiler alert, it is not your job's responsibility to keep you healthy. That's on you. Okay. Healthcare benefits are great. Extended plans, spending plans, that's all awesome. But the onus is on you, not your boss. Okay. This is what I found. And I'm going to be so frank because I don't sugarcoat it. A lot of insurance companies are paying the penalty of whether it's trauma or mommy or daddy issues that individual had from childhood, right? A lot of people are on disability, short or long, because of the domino effect of things over the years, okay? So wouldn't it make more sense if insurance plans really help the individual on a holistic way? So we help them deal with the underlying issues that we all carry. instead of it exploding in their employee's face when you need them for a critical merger, right? Would you rather spend money on preventative care, therapies, meal planning, just really teaching them the basics that unfortunately are not really taught in school? So we have a generation gap of people don't know. Like I was fortunate to have home ec in school, so I learned about those things and health education, but many people now, they don't have the foundations. So we need to peel back the layer. The burnout is just a symptom of underlying problems. The burnout for me, I worked so hard because I was trying to prove that I was valued and worthy. Because I remember growing up being told you're not good enough, you're not this enough, you're not that enough. Not from my parents, it was the outside, right? So that really was what I was doing. I was trying to prove a point. Yes, I had good intention, but part of it was that hurt me, right? And I had to come to terms with that.
Well, you did achieve what would you put together to go to after, right? And frankly, this is an issue for everyone, because I think everyone somehow, somewhere throughout their upbringing, when they're kids, they hear those things. You need to do this, you need to do that, whether it's through TV, friends, and peer pressure and all the stuff affected. And a lot of people, when they go into the corporate world, they also want to make it quick to get to the next level, and they kiss butt and they do all that good stuff. They do whatever it takes. They step on people, and they work extreme. And by the way, guilty as charged. I mean, I didn't step on anyone. Luckily, that's not my nature. I have other principles in life. But certainly, I remember working crazy hours and trying to be the best one and making it happen, which I did. But it wasn't not for to show off or anything. It was just I wanted to get to the next level, because in my case it's a little different. I'm an immigrant, and I needed to make it in the corporate world.
I'm an immigrant too. Hey, that's how the hustle came from. Child of immigrants. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth.
Well, again, I crossed the ocean for
I flew too. I didn't take a ship. We flew here.
Well, I'm sorry, that's funny, because I've had that discussion one time.
Me too.
We did come on boats. I did come
we flew economy.
Well, it was paid for me, so that was different.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, so for me, you're never gonna be as equal unless you prove yourself beyond, right? And you have to be better and more valuable than most. And so it does take some working. Even a little harder and pushing more. If someone has to, go one speed, you go 2 speed, 3 speed. Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. Just a thought came back to my mind. Actually, growing up, the saying was you got to work 10 times harder than your peers before they tell you you're good. That was my family's experience as immigrants who started with nothing but worked their way up despite the challenges to keep them down, right? So I heard that you got to work harder, 10 times harder, so I took that and I ran with it to the point my parents were like, holy crap, where are you from? I'm like, yeah, this is your teaching on steroids, okay?
But this is a fact. I mean, I mean, anyone listening, and I say this to my kids, who are born here and they're American, they have all the things that I may not have had, as a child.
Yes.
And I tell them, we tend to take things for granted here. We have not experienced what other people experience around the world. Now, granted, I didn't have a bad life when I was a kid, but my ambitions and all stuff was built on the perimeter that, I want to do more. And, if you want to succeed even today, I'm always trying to be different and do more than the average person, because that's for me. It's for my satisfaction. But there was a point where I had to almost prove that I can defeat everybody that's around in the same ranking, so I can be the next person to do more and achieve my target. So, for example, I had goals. I always tell people there is no dream that's that small. Dream big. So big that you can scare yourself, and really that's what I do. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. Just dream big, and it doesn't matter. So I wanted to go to the next level. I set a target timeline, in my age group, and I say by 20 this, I'm going to be here. 20 by 30, I want to do this, and so on and so forth. That's how I apply my life, and I use that. But that did come with a price. But there was a point that's why I said I wanted to retire early. That's when I realized, it doesn't matter how good you are, how well you do for companies. You can probably make a lot of, and by the way, I've seen people retire after making millions for corporations, and that what they have is what they saved. What they have is what they put in their 401ks. So companies don't even remember you eventually.
Mhm.
So, and by the way, there's nothing. This is not putting down on the companies. I mean, we still have to work for our companies and support them. There's
Yes.
if you have good ethics, you will do the right thing by any person, any company, because you do uh, make money from the work you do. So there is an actual compensation for what you do. And one of the things why I've been in sales all my life is because I enjoy that extra compensation with commissions
Yes.
and stuff. So there's an incentive for me, and that's been my drive, and I do that for everything. But for people listening, I always say this: set your goals, go for them. There is no limit. Go crazy, but don't burn out. Know the balance. And
Yes.
know that you're not the best. People can tell you're the best. You only believe yourself and do what's best for you. And what's best for
Mhm.
you may not necessarily be what's best for others. Deliver what you promise others, but
Yeah.
don't not on the depends of your health and your family. Balance life.
Yeah.
I even like with my staff and my teams, I always tell them, actually, I have told people, you need to go on vacation. I don't want you
Mhm.
here.
Oh, I've
Why?
done that. I've told
Take
them
what
he needs to go
I
home.
exactly, because some people they do that and they just want to work. I'm like,
Yes.
dude, right now you're not feeling, but one day when you're going to be so tired and you're not going to be able to deliver, you're going to be like, oh my God, but you're not taking a break.
Yeah.
Take a break, take a couple of days here and there,
Yeah.
decompress. That's important.
Mhm.
People don't realize how important those things.
Mhm.
I do like at least 2 or 3 vacations, up to 4 vacations a year, 1 week here, 2 weeks there, and I break down the whole year. So it doesn't feel like, I've been working 12 months. I've been working 2.5 months, boom, boom. And then you get a couple of weeks, you decompress, refresh. And also it almost regenerate your energy back and you go
Yeah.
back to that place and you're like, yeah, let's do this. I'm ready. But that's really important. But again, these are things that you probably are sharing with companies and individuals
Mhm.
as tactics and strategies to help them. And not everybody is willing or able to see that. I mean, I have learned these over the years and through my career and trainings and things like that. I mean, I was able to pick some of these things, but frankly, people don't know about this. I mean,
Yes.
sometimes they just work and they work hard and they don't, before you know it, they just retire or they don't have a job.
Mhm.
Company goes belly down. Oops, what do I do? People also get burned out in the same job. I
Mhm.
mean, literally, they don't move anywhere. They do exactly the same thing every day, robotically. You come
Mhm.
in, you clock out 9 to 5. You do exactly the same routine. That's like that. I would go crazy if that was me.
Me too.
And some people do that. And again, to each his own, and they thrive well in it. But like for me, if it's not challenging, if I can't get to the next level, if I cannot do something different and more, and do some other stuff. No, don't get me, I love to rest. I love to enjoy life and do
Mhm.
different things. But that's the whole idea. Like I do my shows, I do my gym, I do this, I do that, I do my movies. I have certain things that I have to do, and those are the things that get me. I drive a lot because it's relaxing, but you have to find what's working for you, and that's what I tell people. So
100%. I can relate to a lot of what you're saying. You do what you love and you enjoy life to the full and have variety. Variety is the spice of life.
nice.
So that's really important. And the other thing I believe in is you work hard. That's important. Okay. Some people think that things should just be handed to them. No, there's a period where you really have to bust your chops. There's periods when I was working, studying till sunrise and then sleeping for an hour or two, then going to class. Like that was called medical school. It's a grind, but that shouldn't be forever.
Well, you
Okay.
pick one of the tough ones. Medical school is one of
Yeah.
them. Like, literally.
Yeah. Well, for sure. So work hard, play hard. And then, speaking of a grind that shouldn't be forever, we're in this pandemic, and a lot of my colleagues are, and healthcare professionals, you are stretched beyond limit. Like we have busy days pre-COVID where it's like, okay, yeah, you have this case and this trauma and this, et cetera, et cetera. But that was like, usually a Friday, Saturday, or New Year's or holiday when people get paid for whatever reason. Okay. It wasn't every day. Like a sprint should be a sprint, there's a defined end.
Mhm.
So what's happening right now is the end is not in sight. I'm sorry to break it to you. Based on science, we are going to be on this trajectory for at least another 1 to 2 years. People are exhausted. So
Mhm.
you may be thinking, well, that's easy for you to say, but how am I or you as a frontline worker going to get through this? Definitely hard, especially when you're short staffed. So that's a challenge. But if you can find joy and pleasure in the little things, it goes a long way. For me, when I'm driving, like I love driving. I don't care if I have an hour trip. I have a comfortable car, got my Sirius radio going. I'm like having a party in my car. Like I'm like at the club, like back in the day.
I love it. I love it. That's
Right?
really
I'm
good.
like, I'm good. So I get in my jam, I get in my zone, right?
Yeah.
Or just like little things like, yeah, you go to work and you wear scrubs all day. Well, then wear something exciting under those scrubs. I don't care. Do something. Try something new. Call up someone you haven't talked to in a while. Express gratitude. Do a virtual date. I don't know, but you got to do something. Think outside the box.
Mhm.
So to those who are truly like at wit's end, remember this, you will get through it. But if you truly need to have a break, then you take it because you're no good to anybody in your family if you're dead. Please.
That's right.
You're not replaceable to your kids. You're going to be their mommy or daddy. You're replaceable at work. And that's what I had to look at. I had to look at my two little girls and like, what kind of mother are you getting at the end of the day? You know, there's a saying that you can't pour from an empty cup. But I add this piece. I like to add on say phrases. But if you do, you're only serving backwash. Isn't that nasty? Do you want someone else's backwash? Gross. That's what you do when you're exhausted at the end of the day, when you haven't found those moments, no matter how small they are, to recharge. And you have to, you have to be thinking about what you put in your body because food is supposed to give you energy, not make you feel like lying on the couch for the next and have them passed out.
Well, doctor, you did say something about your own. You said you practice what you preach, and
Yes.
you made changes to your lifestyle.
100%.
I'm assuming food, healthy, holistic,
Yes.
plant-based.
Yes.
So what are some of the advices you would give to people, in terms of changing those lifestyles? Because
Okay.
that's another problem we have.
Mhm.
When, what, how, what kind of food we put in. It's
Yep.
like, it's amazing.
For sure. So speaking of food, I like to believe in eat a rainbow. Your plate should be colorful. If it's all brown, like burger, French fries, there's a problem. Okay. Please use some greens and oranges and different things. Plan for a third fruits and vegetables. Okay. The rest you can figure out how you want to do, but you do need the fruit and vegetables. Hydration is so key. That's something I struggled with, as a physician and working on call. I'll be like, it'll be 8 o'clock at night, like, have I even gone to the bathroom today? Have I even drank water? Like literally, it sounds stupid, but that's what I did to myself for years on years, like over and over. Like that's ridiculous. Now I walk around with my water bottle, refillable, and it keeps my water cold. And I make sure I'm drinking at least, 10 cups of water a day. Like 8 is not even enough. If you talk half as much as I do, you need more water. So that is really important. Right? And this is the other thing that we forget to do. We're so busy stuffing our face quickly with food. We forget to chew and breathe. Okay. Quick science class. Digestion of food should begin in the mouth, not in your stomach. That means you must chew the food to mush. My nickname, my husband used to call me cut and swallow because I would just chew gone, like it was done. But I've learned, I've slowed down, I've sat down, enjoy the food, enjoy this taste, enjoy the seasoning, the spices, the moment. Embrace it. Slow down.
You mentioned, doctor, something very important, and I can relate to that big time because I have found myself at work going the whole day not even drinking because there was no water where I am, and you go from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting to this to that. And you just keep forgetting that you drink. And then at the end of the day, you were so dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
You come home. I mean, how much can you possibly drink? And if you drink a lot, you're going back and forth to the bathroom and, now you're not comfortable. And you don't want that water just to come in. You want to place it in your body slowly but surely. And to your point also, you bring food to a meeting and you just like, you put it quickly there and you're just like, because you want to finish so you can talk again in that meeting. It's not a good healthy. Take your time. It's funny because in the US, we have a very unique culture compared to other countries. Now, you go to Europe, they take the time to
Oh
enjoy
yeah,
their
it's like you
meals.
don't text your people after hours. Like it's like siesta, like take a break.
Well, siesta during the day, but they do
Yeah.
appreciate the lifestyle, and
Yeah.
they do take their times. I mean, they almost a
Mhm.
union culture, but that's okay because they do deliver at a different pace. Now we are more business, oriented, 100%, 200%, like 1,000%, I would say, with that extreme. But because we lost that balance, life balance, and I think that's a big problem that we have in general. The young generation, I think, on the contrary, they just they want to work from home. They don't want to do everything. Everything's virtual now, so it's easier. And that's the other trend in the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
There's a whole group of people that don't even step out of their home.
Yeah. Not
They
good.
sit. There's that DoorDash this,
Mm-mm.
Uber that, order this, Amazon Prime the other one, and you don't even leave the house. Deliver everything, and you just sit on that, seat of yours, couch, whatever, and you're watching or
Mhm.
playing, and that's it. Even
Not
working,
good.
there's no activity. It's
Yeah.
it's it's
And
amazing.
they don't learn how to interact with people and have meaningful conversations where you can disagree without being triggered. Like come on. This is
Doctor,
ridiculous.
and you got these bad boys.
I
Well, fuck you.
know.
I'm like sitting with you in front of you, and I'm doing this, and you doing yours. So what's the point of being in the same table?
Exactly. It's like emojis and this and that. Like have a conversation. Talk with somebody.
Yeah, we're losing values in a lot of aspects. I mean, because even if you go back in the US a few years back, few decades before, like the 80s and 70s, even before that, at work, there was a culture. I mean, this
Of
whole thing
course.
with you did take your break, your lunch, your breaks, you kind of broke your day, you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was different. You didn't take work with you. Even in the 90s, I remember before the tablets and all the stuff and taking, the internet, you
On
would
our
basically,
phone.
you on the phone, you clock out at
I
5, you're
remember.
done.
Mhm.
Tomorrow you check back at 9. Let me catch up with my emails.
Yeah,
Now
not
your emails
anymore.
are not your emails are going with you. You're in the car and you're texting stuff, accident happened, or
Hmm.
God forbid, take somebody's life. It
Yeah.
is just amazing how we've transited in the name of science and in progress, innovation. We took it a whole different extreme, and we have to almost digress back and balance it to a degree. And again, this is a show. The purpose of this, hopefully, to share, some of these ideologies with people, and maybe some folks will take some of this juice and apply it. You know, they can certainly reach out to you, right?
Definitely. Definitely they can.
So I know we're just about the end of the show here, but so any other value that you want to add, at the last couple of minutes, and then of course I'd like you to share with us how people can connect with you. I actually will have the description of your business and what you do,
Yes.
and then also your website. So
Sounds good.
just any words of wisdom that we'd like to share now as a wrap up.
Live life to the full with joy and happiness. When last have you laughed, smiled, like done something spontaneous? Don't grow old in the sense of old, like heart wise. You should remain youthful. I know some 80-year-olds who crack me up. They are hilarious because they haven't lost that joyful, youthful exuberance. They figured out what is most important, which is family and health, and also being together, unified as a society, working for the better good. And they ran with it. And that's why I look at previous generations. Yeah, they weren't perfect. There are things I didn't like, but as a whole, I have nothing but the utmost respect. We need to go back to those values that made this country great, that made us come here when it was just the wild, wild west. And, we grew a society. We need to be mindful of our health. Don't try to keep up with everyone else. You have your own race, and that is against yourself. Beat your personal best. Don't worry about the Joneses. They have their own issues. You know how the rich people, they'll be in the front page for some murder or some suicide. You clearly, money is not buying their happiness. Okay? So remember that. And I know we all can live a healthy, happy life where we die of old age.
Well, listen, that's everybody's dream, right? to
Mm-hmm.
live a long life, happy, healthy, and ultimately potentially just sleep and go.
That's where I want to go.
But I know we're again at the end of the show, but I just wanted to highlight something you talked about here is that, aging, aging is a concept and you can control aging to a degree. And it's how you apply what you do with your body can, be for you or against you. You can age sooner than later, or you can expand your body's energy and everything to a longer vibe. And I've seen, actually, I've been in martial arts for a long time, since I was a kid, and I've met with a lot of professors and real extreme masters in the arts of martial arts, and some of those folks were in the 80s and the 90s, and they were still active. They were still, and I know some today that are still out there that in that age group, and they can be more energetic than most of us today.
Oh yeah, I remember when I was 15, I was climbing a mountain. This was in British Columbia, Canada, and literally there was a couple from, I think, Holland. They were in their 70s. They like kicked my butt, like they were spry. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm 15 years old, and someone older than my grandparents or my parents are just kicking my butt right now. What does that say about me? Let's do this. Like if they can do that, I can do that. So age is oftentimes just a number.
It is, and again, it does certainly have an impact, but
yes,
but it's how you get there. The type of food, your activities. I mean, if you throw in a lot of junk in your body and you don't do anything to support it, I mean, certainly it's like a plant. If you don't give it enough sun, enough water, and enough nutrients, it's kind of like collapse and get pale, and eventually die out sooner. And if you take good care of it, granted everything else is good. There's no pandemics or nothing. And frankly, even with pandemics, I mean,
you can be healthy.
Exactly. At least you're able to fight as best as you can.
Exactly.
And so you take two people of equal age. One is super healthy and one that is not. There's a good chance the super healthy one can defeat the pandemic or whatever viral infection a little bit. Now, we had exceptions, underlying, things, that conditions that no one knows about. And then obviously you get a healthy, and we hear this, oh, he was physical, it was this, it was that, and, he was gone. Well, there's always going to be an exception here and there.
And also there was also the situation where they had undiagnosed health conditions. So It's like diabetes. You can be like, oh yeah, I'm not diabetic, but you've never had your blood tested, or you haven't had it in years. So how do you know? Okay.
That's right. Well, you said it earlier. I mean, preventative, a lot of people, especially at young age, they don't even see a doctor in a few years before they even, listen, I'm one of them. I mean, I didn't start seeing a regular doctor until I hit the 30s. I mean, and when I'm talking about literally physical, annual, and stuff like that, I didn't do that when I was in my 20s. I was like, doctor? I go when I get a cold or whatever, just to get some prescription. Even that, I'll go to Walgreens and grab a couple of Tylenols, and that's it. But there is that age frame where we think we're invincible. Nothing is going to touch us, and we're like, we're good, we're healthy. That's just an illusion. And unfortunately, people, they don't understand. That's the foundation of where you're going further. And every decade is going to take away from you, and you got to have to maintain. So again, age can be against you, but only if you let it happen. I mean, you're going to age no matter what. And hopefully, actually, we want everybody to age healthy and long life and enjoying it as much as they can. So, and I cruise a lot. So I've met a lot of older folks. I mean, I've been on ships where the 90% was seniors, and these folks were happy. They lived a very long, and by the way, I appreciate them, because unfortunately today's generation doesn't realize, old people, these old people have lived.
Yeah, they've seen things. They've seen things.
They've done. They're not stupid. Some of them were doctors, engineers, and astronauts. That's just because they're aged. That doesn't make them stupid. They still are. They still have
value.
Exactly, and they have knowledge and wisdom.
Knowledge, that's key. Experience.
It is funny, and again, we hope that through these shows, we can deliver some messages out there that can be of value to people, and at all ages and all different walks and cultures. I mean, this is literally an international show, so people can take some of it, and they don't have to take all of it. I would say if you can retain 1% of what we talked about today and apply, that's good enough. I mean, you can do better, but hey,
yes, you can.
We'll take the 1%, right?
Yeah.
So thank you, doctor, for those last, key words of wisdom. And I just kind of gave a little bit more on my share of it. And now people can reach out to you, obviously, you know, to virtually,
for sure.
to get, you know, the wisdom, and also you can help them individually, for anyone that is getting to the point where they don't know what to do, they feeling a burnout, you know, just to get some assistance, and you know, um, and sometimes I think employers too can benefit from it, because it's important, if you really care for, you know, your folks and your, you know, the people that make things happen. It's always good to make sure that the mental state and the physical state is there, and if you can help them, support them in any way, shape, or form, those will be added values that you can bring, and people would appreciate it.
100%.
So your site, your company.
Yeah. So it's Holistic Wellness Strategies. That's holistic with an H, wellness, two S's, strategies.com. Instagram is at mental wellness coach _. And honestly, if you just search my name, you'll find an article or something about me. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Clubhouse, the same handle. And then I also recently launched a podcast, which is called aptly The Mental Health and Wellness Show. So you can get a taste of how I roll. But I mean, if you listen to this, you got a good taste of how Dr. Mitchell is.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I didn't know about the podcast, but that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, I mean, podcast is the new thing. I mean, mine is a little, you know, my concept is a little bit, you know, unique in a way that it's beyond just the podcasting piece of it, but it's really, you know, it's more of a channel, and we're going to do more things with it. But this is a podcast in its core.
Yes.
And, you know, there are so many, you know, programs out there that are so valuable to people, and even companies now are realizing that how important these things are. They all over the place. You cannot possibly go into a platform without having a podcast, you know, available to you. iTunes, SoundCloud, Amazon, even iHeartRadio has its own podcast.
Yes.
So there's plenty of places, but that's great. And you know, you and I were connected, so we'll keep track of each other.
Yeah.
And you know, listen, it's been real. It was a pleasure. We had a nice fun. I haven't well, actually, I had different shows with different angles when I was asked questions or put to the test. But today was the first time we had a role play. as
this
me
is great.
being a patient and you being, you know, my you know, mental health coach. So that's good. Well, listen, thank you for the time. And,
thank you.
You know, we appreciate it. Folks, thank you for watching and listening today. And I'm Hurricane H, and I will say bye for now. Tomorrow, new show, new day, new topic, and new guest. Bye-bye now.
Bye.